Anthony Walker is back, and this is a move I am very excited about. We're going to break down this signing as the Browns have gotten the green dot of their defense from last season back, and this, in my opinion, is an excellent move by the Browns, and I can't wait to tell you why. So, Adam Schefter was the first one to report the news that Browns free agent linebacker Anthony Walker, who visited this week with the Commanders, has agreed to return to Cleveland on a one-year contract. So the Browns get the middle of their defense back after it looked like he might be going to the commies after visiting DC this past week, but ultimately he makes the right decision. The Browns make the right decision, and a core member of this defense, even though he only played 3 games last year, really call it 2.5, is back for 2023. So if you love getting good news, because who doesn't love getting good news, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If we get to 17,800 subs, Adam Schefter is going to do the Jerry Jeudy tweet next. That's how it works. He's monitoring the channel. So help us reach that milestone, 57 subs away. Help us grow so we can get more Browns content out for the Dog Pound. Anthony Walker, though. Let's take a breath and look at what he has done over the last 4 seasons. It's a bit bizarre that with the Browns, he's been injury prone, right? Coming off a torn quad in 2022, missed some time in 2021 as well. But when he was with the Colts, he was healthy as could be, right? Didn't miss a game, essentially. But with the Browns through 2 seasons, he's only played in 16 of 34 possible games. That's a bummer, right? I think that's a point where we maybe all should just put down the champagne for a brief second and go, well, before we start really taking this celebration to the streets, let's wait for Anthony Walker to play more than 13 games in a season. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am very excited about this move. I think it's a great move, but I do think there should be a little bit of caution to this is a player through 2 years with the Browns, has yet to stay healthy for a full season or even somewhat close to it. 13 out of 17 games, I guess, isn't too bad, but that is an IR stint with 4 games being missed. Now, his PFF grades. The guy has really taken off since he left the Colts, right? Indeed looked at those numbers and thought, these are mediocre at best. Time to make a change. And they've had great linebackers there, so I don't think they regret much. But with the Browns, I mean, look at the jump from 2020 to 2021, right? From 48 to a nice 69 overall grade. And in 2022, I get it, small sample size, 82.7 overall grade. But you know what? The way he was playing, and I'll tell you this much, this is a huge signing that I like because not only did the Browns get a big key part of their defense back, but when Anthony Walker went down last year, I get it. Like, it was only 2.5 games they had him for, and it's not like the defense was lighting the world on fire in those first 2.5 weeks. But didn't it feel like things sort of fell off a little bit, right? The run defense, down the drain. Because what happened after Anthony Walker's injury? The Falcons rushed the football 14 straight times against the Browns. The Chargers came into town with the worst run game in the NFL and put up 238 yards. So not only do the Browns remedy this run defense issue by signing a couple good defensive linemen, but they also bring back the green dot, the play caller, the middle of the defense that was instrumental in keeping the ship afloat when he had a bunch of, CFL players on that defensive line next to Myles Garrett last season. So grade the Anthony Walker signing for me. A, B, C, D, or F. I'm going to give it an A-. The only reason the minus is in there is because we do have to recognize he needs to stay healthy for it to be an A. But if he does stay healthy, they are getting a very good linebacker for a very cheap price. Now, let's take a step back and look at the rest of the linebacker room here. I think they're going to run it back with the same 3 starters, right? JOK, Anthony Walker, and Takitaki. Now, I will say that I don't think signing Walker and Takitaki just completely removes the need for the draft because they have a very similar linebacker room to last year. But what did we learn last year? That they didn't have a lot of great depth, right? Once Walker and Takitaki went down, which is very unlucky for the Browns to lose 2 out of 3 starting linebackers, and then eventually JOK as well, actually, will include him. Those are 3 players that last season missed a lot of games. So the Browns should have a good contingency plan in place for one of those three guys to miss some time potentially, right? If they bank on those three players starting all 17 games, that's a good Vegas odds of not happening. So bringing Walker and Takitaki back, in my opinion, feels like a big win for the Browns because it did feel like it might be one or the other, right? With the way Takitaki played last year, filling in for Walker, he might have gotten some other interest in free agency. Ultimately, he returns. Walker did get interest from other teams in free agency. We know that, but he also returns to the Browns. I thought it might be one or the other. Awesome to see both players coming back to the land. Now, having said all that, and what I was just alluding to a moment ago, I do think the Browns should still draft a linebacker. Why? Because let's go through the linebacker room for a second here. Walker, Takitaki, both back on one-year deals. Jacob Phillips, Tony Fields, both entering the last years of their contract, right? So don't leave the linebacker room to be figured out next season. Draft a guy in the middle of this year's draft, maybe two, so that next year when all these players are free agents, you don't have an empty room. You've got some guys ready to take a step forward and have a bigger role going into year two. We got more analysis and other takeaways to get to in just a quick second. But first, there is a great deal going on at Fanatics that I've been sharing with you over the last few days, and I want to remind you of it because this Browns retro shirt is on sale, and I don't want you to miss out. So go to chatsports.com/CLE shirt. That link's in the comments and the description of today's show. So give it a gander, and if you like it, make the purchase. That way, when you're ready to go to some Guardians games or whatever, going to Cavs games, you can still rep your favorite squad while also staying comfortable. So some notable signings I want to share with everyone now, right? On the defensive side, Dalvin Tomlinson. Producer Sam's Oklahoma Sooner, Obo Okoronkwo. Did I get that right? Okoronkwo. One day I'm going to get there. Anthony Walker, Takitaki, and Juan Thornhill. They had some other signings, but those are the big five, I would say, so far. The defense last season was underwhelming, right? That's putting it lightly, if I'm being honest here. The Browns have signed 3 new starters, and they brought back 2 very important pieces of their defense as well. So call it 5 altogether. I'm going to say that's a pretty good job by Andrew Berry, recognizing the deficiencies of this team from last year and not being a cheapo and going, no, I believe in Jordan Elliott and Togiai. They're going to take a step forward. Or I'm ready to see what DeAnthony Bell can do, or Ronnie Harrison. No, he said, screw that. Give me the money, Jimmy and D. Haslam. Let's go sign some starters. Let's spend some money. And let's get some serious NFL talent on this defense, which it did not have last year at certain positions. So if you believe in the Browns brass and you believe in what Andrew Berry is doing, like this video. I like to say I can be a bit of a sheep for AB because I do think he is making good steps in the right direction, and I am in on his plan. He has some shortcomings here and there. If he hits this draft out of the park, I think he's going to be making a wonderful roster for Cleveland in 2023. So like today's video if you are with me. Some other free agency news to get to before we let you go here. D'Ernest Johnson is signing with the New York Jets, according to Adam Schefter. Oh, did I say Jets? Jacksonville Jaguars. I was thinking of, what's his face when he got traded from the Jags to the Jets. James Robinson, producer Sam, he's the best in the biz. So going to the Jags, and you know what? I'm a little happy for D'Ernest Johnson because I want to see him get paid, right? Watching him in 2021 when he had those 3 great games against the Broncos on Thursday night, the Bengals in Week 18, and I can't remember the last one. It'll come to me after the video. But nevertheless, I'm just happy for him. I want to see him get that bread, right? See him get that dough. So D'Ernest Johnson, good luck to you in Jacksonville. Enjoy Duval. I'm sure the Jags fans are going to grow to love you. That's it for today's show. If you shared our video from yesterday or the day before on Twitter, because of the breaking news element, I was moving pretty quickly, so I didn't get to compile all of those who shared our videos. I didn't get to already. So stay tuned for a shout-out in tomorrow's show, live show too, so you'll get a shout-out for lots of people to see. So appreciate everyone who shares our video on Twitter. And hey, if you want to get a shout-out, share it on Twitter, tag me at Matthew Petey, and I'll be sure to give you a shout-out in a future Browns Report.